The administration's been trying to prioritize dividing everything it spends into 4 separate tiers. You can kind of think of it like a game of Jenga, right? So the district's already taken out the easy stuff in Tier 1 and the stuff it didn't really want to touch in Tier 2, and now it's on to Tiers 3 and 4, more critical sections, riskier, with potentially more devastating effects. Balancing the books at OKC schools is proving to be an open-ended problem.
These are some of the deepest cuts that I've ever seen to a school district, and we're having to cut things that I believe are really, really important for our schools.
Read between the lines on the $10 million cuts, and you'll see less money for school supplies, less time for tutoring. New textbooks, uniforms, and athletic equipment have been torn from the budget, too. New start and end times will be penciled in so the district doesn't have to use as many buses.
I just think it's really sad for everyone, for the families and for the teachers and for the kids.
And there's more red ink for the arts and other cherries on top of a child's school day. Scratch out funding for free SAT tests or exams for college credit.
These are things that I wish every kid could have. And so it's just going to be a really difficult year for Oklahoma City Public Schools.
This is just the next page in the district's cutting process. It's already scribbled out more than 200 teachers and more than 90 administrators to save some money.
We've cut to the bone already, and we're doing everything we can to avoid cutting any more teaching positions.
But make no mistake,
these cuts will hurt academic performance.
The children stand to lose.
We are hugely disappointed that we're having to do this, and we really do hope that there's a way that our state can come up with a stable funding plan for education in our future.
Because as far as the budget goes, even this round of cuts won't cover it.
Lauren, these numbers are part of what we expect to be a very high voter turnout.
Because so many people tell us the stakes have never been higher than in 2016, Kevin, both for the presidency and for the 7 state questions you can see on your ballot. But ahead of November 8th, the Republicans seem to be making the strongest surge to the finish line.
Do you register?
As we accelerate toward Election Day,
Yes, ma'am.
voter registration is shifting into high gear.
Thanks for coming out.
Volunteers are steering as many people as possible to the polls, which could turn up the highest turnout in years.
You can't sit back and complain about anything if you're not getting out here and vote.
So you're saying people would have a lot to complain about if they didn't vote in this? With time running out,
State Election Board.
the Election Board is dealing with a last-minute surge of voters.
There's your afternoon mail badge. It will get busier, but this is very busy.
That's partly because of all the new voters that have rolled out in the last 6 weeks. 41,000 in all, and most of the new faces are Republicans. Just look at how they dwarf the new Democrats and independents.
It's kind of a change election for some people. I think that Republicans in particular are pretty excited about things.
And Oklahomans seem excited about Republicans. 16,000 faces changed sides since September. Most are going red, about 3 times more than are going blue.
I think Democrats do wonder where the bottom is.
Political scientist Richard Johnson says the shifting faces are part of a long-term realignment.
Oklahoma is a very conservative state. It's mostly through its history been considered a southern state, and the momentum still is towards the Republican Party.
Momentum shifting faster as November gets closer. One of the state's biggest problems has little chance for a solution, at least if you ask leading Democrats about pay raises for teachers.
We also believe that they deserve something else, and that is honesty from their elected officials.
House Minority Leader Scott Inman chalks it up to a combination of things. Add election year politics to a struggling economy, and he says you lose hope in the Republican-controlled legislature.
My frustration with them is that they put us into this mess, and they refuse to accept responsibility for it, and would rather play games with teachers' emotions in an election year.
Well, that's a pretty uninspiring statement.
Senator David Holt wrote one of at least 3 plans out there to increase teacher salaries by $3,000, $5,000, or even $10,000.
We've put forward plans that are credible and are funded that can get it done. And so I think that that's what we're going to be pushing forward on, and we're not going to let naysayers stand in the way.
Holt says progress has been written on the wall at the Capitol. It would be a mistake to erase it.
If we're just going to give up now, then I don't see why I need to be a senator anymore. That's not the kind of attitude that I bring to the Capitol.
That's not the attitude across the street.
We always have hope.
The president of one of the state's largest teachers' unions isn't holding her breath.
Many of our legislators say that public education is their top priority, but they don't vote that way when it comes down to it.
Teachers say they're in dire straits. They can't afford to wait and go back to the drawing board. It's all about perspective. You can open up the citizen survey here and you can see the good news. 79% of people who like it or love it here in Oklahoma City. But you can flip the script too and see that that's down from the 88% of people who felt the same way last year.
Hold on tight, kite.
Satisfaction is simple when you're a kid with a kite. Yet it's Grandpa who feels like he has the world on a string.
I do. I love it here, actually.
Willis Jones is in the majority, satisfied with his surroundings.
I've been kind of all over the world, and this is a real relaxed atmosphere.
Don't just take his word for it. People around Lake Hefner are pumped about the parks and rec.
Some people that say they don't like Oklahoma because there's nothing to do, there's nowhere to go, it's boring. Maybe you're boring. I think you make wherever you go.
And plenty is going well, according to the latest numbers from OKC's survey.
9.
Sure, only 9% of people are pleased with our pavement.
I grew up in the country with rough roads. It feels worse, actually.
But 70% are happy with the police department. And even though more than 40% don't like the construction and traffic, just 1% are dissatisfied with the fire department.
We're very proud of those services that are provided.
Christy Yeager and City Hall say the numbers are above average for large U.S. cities.
But over the last few years, we did slip a little bit.
Which is putting a damper on things. At the high water mark last year, 88% of people were satisfied living in OKC. This year, it dropped by nearly 10 points. And while 81% saw it as a good place to raise children last year, only 66% feel the same this year.
It might be the downturn in oil and gas because, you lose tax revenue for the state and that affects all the public programs. But it's going to recover. It's just going to take some time.
Still, the way Jimmy and Sarah Price see it, with what it has to offer, OKC is more than okay.
Some top Republicans are calling Trump a wild card.
That's right, Kevin. While Governor Mary Fallin may look at the Republican deck of cards and pick Trump as her ace in the hole, other Republicans we spoke to tonight say he's nothing more than just a joker.
We had a tremendous victory tonight.
With the new face of the Republican Party headed toward the nomination, the possibility of a Donald Trump presidency is entering the picture in Oklahoma, and for the party in power, there are two sides to that coin.
You cannot ignore the good policies this man is pushing.
State Senator Ralph Shorty wants to see Trump at the head of the U.S. government because of policy, not personality.
I believe Mr. Trump is the right guy at the right time. He's going to pull us out of this mess.
But those on the flip side of the Trump coin see the businessman as chump change.
I have to sleep at night. I have a daughter. I can't support someone who lacks the basic human decency that Mr. Trump does.
Senator David Holt won't be voting for Hillary Clinton either, but he certainly won't support the GOP nominee.
He's not competent to be president. He's wrong on the issues. He's not a conservative. He lacks human decency. And maybe worst of all, he speaks like he's a dictator.
Governor Mary Fallin put her 2 cents in Wednesday, saying she's behind Donald Trump 100% because he would be a conservative president who will promote a pro-business climate to create good jobs and is strong on national defense. The governor says she's focused on the budget, not rumors of the vice presidency, and even Trump's supporters say that's best.
I have a lot of respect for our governor, but I just think that Mr. Trump would be better served elsewhere.
But in a potentially toss-up election, Shorty says the face at the top of the ticket is most important.